Brock Fletcher will be our guest here in a second here. We're just getting everything fired up, and this is our intro video. So Brock, I just had a thought on trends you need to know in real estate.
Okay.
And I thought, well, you know what? That's kind of that's kind of like a big bucket. So
Gosh, yeah, because trends will change from time to time, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Did you
but we can
have
do that.
like that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. And then your messages segment. What do you want to tell you only have to do one because everybody's been doing just one and they're becoming kind of popular. What do you where are you going with this one now for my regulars? You did a great job with your grandfather's speech and all that. But, it just lets you know we'll have it in the fifth segment as usual, where it's going to be kind of a regular thing. So just a message you'd like to send to, again, younger people. I mean, what do we want to do? Is it going to be training? Is it going to be, having multiple irons in the fire? Is it going to be side action? Is it going to be whatever you think is important? You could pull from being a dad. I mean, if you wanted to do that, that's totally fine too. So wherever.
Sure. I'll be thinking on it.
Okay. Things you do different as a dad. I'm doing this new one too, that you might want to think about jumping in with me is I'm doing these videos called Dad Talk, #Dad Talk. And I'm just having a blast with this RFZ thing. The second channel, I kind of think of it as the first channel. And the craziest thing on that RFZ channel, not the show channel on YouTube, is all of the dang all my little exercise clips that I think are just completely irrelevant. People like them.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But that's what the books say about YouTube. Give people what they want. So who am I?
Sure. That's cool.
All right, let's get this thing rocking here. Let me minimize this bad mofo. Got my man here, my man, brother from another mother. Let me pull up that Spreaker thing. Got you. Give me a check.
Testing. 1 2 1 2.
Okay, good deal. All right, let's do this. Doug Resicky was last week. Balance.
Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show.
Pulled the wrong file. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I'm gonna have to restart this thing. I wondered about that. X.
Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show.
File. Close out projects. Okay. Stop recording. Technology. So close out projects. No. All right. So let me do this again. Gee. I was just talking to somebody about your professionalism with your phone.
Oh,
changing your messages, and it was Dave DeMarco. We were having
okay. Yeah.
I'm doing those Mad Dog minutes with him.
Nice.
And that might be another thought for us. We can talk about it another time. Okay. These little minutes, he just sends me 30-second clips. I produce them up and then I just put them up on the channel because I'm like, hey, I contribute to that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just a 30-second thing by the time we get done with it. And who knows, if somebody wants to sponsor them, then great. So
Nice.
Yeah. So but if you ever wanted to think about doing stuff like that, just shoot it on your phone, get a little mic. You got your microphone there. You could easily do something that would be applicable to people. Let me get this.
Sure.
All right. So now I'm not going to hear music, but that's all right. At least we got the right dang thing going on. That was Chris Tyler's. I don't know if you heard that or not. But that was Chris.
Oh yeah.
Chris Tyler's Chris Tyler's intro. It's like, that's that's old. I got to get that out of the computer. Okay, here we go. Last week, Doug Resige was with us. Called that one Balance. Balance. Am I recording? I'm not sure. Oh no, I did click the wrong fucking thing again. Dumbass.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
God dang it. Click the wrong button. Stop. What am I doing here? Oh, son of a bitch. Stop. Jesus. All right. What? I don't take chances with this. I gotta close this one too. Shit. Man, I'm struggling. Close all projects. No. That's where these intro videos are so damn funny because it shows me, going through all of these freaking hoops. I gotta, it's just like, just freaking roll, baby. B. Okay. Save. Zoom guest. Click here. Make this bigger. Here we go. Let's see if we can make this work. Last week, Doug Resige was with us. Talked about balance, hunter, non-hunter episode. Doug's the bomb. We went all over the place with that, as our shows always do, you guys. You know how it is. I mean, I have my friends and my brothers from other mothers, and it's all about bringing you guys good content. Thank you so much for joining us today. However you're picking this bad boy up, if it's on the podcast or if it's on the radio stations or wherever the heck you are, thank you so much for being with us. My man, Brock Fletcher's with us. One of our sponsors, one of my really good friends. The guys helped us sell our house, helped us buy another house. I mean, it's like you gotta go with the people that you trust. We'll talk all about that here in a little bit. Going to call this one Trends You Need to Know in Real Estate. Brock kind of smiled when I said that to him. He's like, yeah. Because as we record this thing, again, your 16th visit. So if you ever want to go hear Brock or check out any of our stuff, just go to the Reality Real Estate on the TomMattShow.com website. We've never done this one because, interest rates were always like at 0 or 1 or whatever. And now that the federal government's playing games with everything that we do, hey, let's see what trends are happening with my man, Brock. Brock, how are you, brother? Nice to hear you.
Yes, it's great to visit with you. Thank you again for having me, obviously. Things are great. It's, the real estate's like the Wild West right now.
I'm writing that down. That's a given.
Yeah.
So are you surviving the Wild West with you guys? Are you okay over there? Are you guys hanging?
Yeah. What I mean by the Wild West is it's so competitive. There's so many buyers competing for properties. You got to do very specific things in order to win, and, educating your clients on what they have to do to win is, it's hard to get people focused on that, right? I mean, because what they did 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years ago just doesn't work, right? And everybody comes in with their own preconceived notions, and then you have to provide great education so that buyers understand what they actually have to do in order to compete and win.
As soon as you said, I was writing education, as you said, education, share a couple of stories. I mean, typically we do the family stuff and all of those things. So let's do that. Let me regroup. Let's do that first. Let's
Sure.
do the family thing first. Let's do the, this is your life, talk about the whole fam and what's going on. How's everybody doing? And then we'll talk about that focus and how we help people navigate all of this ups and downs and educate people. Go ahead.
Things are going well. My daughter Jenna is doing great. She's 20. She'll be 21 in August, and just got back from a 2.5-week trip to South Korea. Had a great time. She just got back.
Did she like that?
What's that?
Did she like that?
She loved it. It was a
Yeah.
great experience. Yeah, she went with her boyfriend. They had a great time. His parents lived there, and it was phenomenal. So what a great experience for her as a 21 or a 20-year-old to be able to go to South Korea and just have a great time.
So
So
it wasn't a study abroad thing, it was a personal thing, and that's how that went?
yeah, it was a personal trip. They did, of course, they went and visited a lot of places, and went to the border between North Korea and South Korea, and that was pretty. She loved it. Just a great time. Had just a blast. So many wonderful stories. So
Please tell her that she still has the open, well, both your girls have open invitations to the show, but I love doing the Generation Us stuff, as you know, and talking about students and all of those things. I mean, it's very important to transfer and give everybody that knowledge from the student's perspective. And I love hearing what's going on with the young people. So, how's Katie
yeah,
doing? Everything going good? She's still doing saving lives and taking
yeah. She's doing great. She's she's a nurse,
Yeah.
OBGYN nurse. So she likes it. It's good work. She enjoys it. Our dog passed away a couple months ago. That was a bummer.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So Lola was great.
How long did you have that part of your family?
Oh, 11.5 years. She was an English bulldog. So which
Wow.
she lived about 3 years longer than what they average. But tell you, that was tougher than I had imagined it would be. But it's been a couple months, so I'm no longer crying every day. And so that's good. So
Hey man, being in touch with your feminine side. Politically, I don't care what people say about this stuff. Males who are in touch with their feminine side, females who are in touch with their masculine side. It's all about balance. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. I am right there with you. So, hey, I'm glad you shared. Thank you for sharing that. That's really cool that you did that. So, let's talk about stories now. Give me a
Sure.
story about education and focus just to launch this thing. Because today, and let me reset this for a second, everybody. We got Brock here, Brock Fletcher, Reality of Real Estate, our Keller Williams selling team of Keller Williams. Trends you need to know in real estate. We were laughing at the beginning of the show and pre-show about, hey, there's nothing going on. So set this whole episode up with with a Brock story, because you got them all, and your team is you're so solid that even through the ups and downs, that's how people win. So please give us a snapshot story. You got a few minutes to go before we go to break. Please set it up.
Well, so how I'll start it off. So I wish that everybody, when they entered the relationship with a real estate agent, entered it from the same focal point that they did with like your trusted attorney or financial advisor, right? Unfortunately, a lot of people distrust real estate agents, and some of them rightfully so. But here's the reality: in order to win in this competitive market, you need to be in a trusted relationship with your real estate agent. You need to hold them in high regard, and here's how that's important. So when I meet a new client that's never worked with me before, it takes some time to build that trust, right? And when I share through education the things that a buyer must do in order to win in this competitive market, it's easier if that trust is there, right? I think too many times the customer is thinking of the agent as like a used car salesman or whatever. The reality is you're like dating for like months until you're successful, and you're building a really strong bonded relationship. And if it doesn't feel like that, two things are going to happen. You're probably not going to have a great experience with your agent. And number two, you're probably not going to win, right? Because real estate is high stakes right now. If you're considering purchasing a home, you're probably going to be competing with at least 10 other offers. And in order for you to win, there's a very specific way that you must write your offer to even have a snowball's chance in heck of winning. And so I could fill you up, Tom, with consultation stories about how we're educating our buyers on the 4 or 5 things that they must do in order to win. And then a lot of times the feedback from the client is, I didn't have to do that the last time I bought a home. And the reality is, if you bought a home more than 4 years ago, everything you knew about negotiating for real estate is irrelevant. None of it applies, right? None of it all. Nothing that you used 5 years ago would help you to win today.
That is so unbelievable. But you know what? It's all about the education here. Let me reset this, Brock, because we're gonna come up on break. That was a great lead in, by the way. And I've got several things I want to springboard off of that, everybody, when we come back. Trends you need to know in real estate. Brock's with us, Brock Fletcher, my brother from another mother. These, and what Brock was saying about the education, I've said this story many times, everybody, about how when Brock and I first met at the radio station years and years and years ago through Dave DeMarco, he came up and he was very kind and gave me some really good advice. And that's what launched us. And that was about a year and a half before we got things going on our changes. And that's what we're going to talk about here, because he's our guy. We trust him implicitly and we love him. Brock Fletcher, trends you need to know in real estate. It's a Tom Matt Show. So easy.
Awesome.
You're great. Jumping right in. We don't even, I'm talking to the camera right now. See, that's the thing with doing this stuff, you guys. Brock and I, Craig and I, these are regulars, people that we really do trust. And we're carrying that word very, very strongly. I'm telling you right now that you got to find these people. And when you find your people, I tell you, Brock, I just wrote a note to a student about this and said, who's in your foxhole? I learned that from David Goggins' new book. Okay, let's get going here.
Yeah, great book, by the way.
Yeah, the new one, it's just unbelievable.
It's awesome.
That thing. I got another one for you too. I'll tell you about Peter Adia's new book. I'm about 60% done with that. Huge. It's excellent. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a pretty big doctor.
I don't, but I'll jot it down when
I'll send you
when you're ready.
I'll send you a picture. I have the picture of my phone. Do a review
Awesome.
on it. I'll send it to you. Here we go. Your Ameriprise Financial Advisor and our Ameriprise Financial Advisor, sponsor of segment 2 of the Tom Matt Show, is Craig Stiles. He can help you plan for the life you want today and well into the future. With the right financial advisor, life can be brilliant. Talking about education with Brock, our guest today. That's what Craig will do for you. He's helped us become educated, and full disclosure, just like I talked about with Brock, we utilize his services. We gave all of our, we transferred all of our retirement savings to Craig. And I haven't even worried about diddly anything since then. All right. So with the right financial advisor, life can be brilliant. Numbers coming at you, everybody. 1-800-528-1355. His local number, 517-483-4893. Craig.stiles@ampf.com. His offices are located at 2400 Lake Lansing Road, Suite B is in Bism, Lansing, Michigan, 48912. If you're out of this area, and just like with Brock, if you need some consultation, but you're in Ohio or Florida or California or wherever, picking this up on the podcast, just still reach out, because both of our sponsors are networked all over the country, and they can help you find people that will be able to answer your questions and do the heavy lifting for you. Stations in and out of the network that have carried us, still carry us, haven't carried us. They're all over the place. WGHN 92.1, Grand Haven, Michigan, I'm telling you, man, if you haven't been to Grand Haven, you got to get over there. That place is the best. Got the best beach in Michigan, best beach in probably America, one of them at least. WGIM 1240 AM in Lansing, Michigan is the flagship of the Michigan Talk Network. WJRW 1340 AM in Grand Rapids carried us for a long, long time. WKLQ 1490 Muskegon. WYPV FM 94.5 Mackinac City. WKAR, our PBS affiliate at Michigan State University. News Talk AM 870 carrying us on Sunday afternoons at 5 p.m. Great slot. Remember, any stations that want me to give your call letters or whatever, our family is talk radio. We are niche. We are a weekend show, and we like it that way. And it's working out great because then we can bring in special talent like a Brock, Craig, and promote this. So remember, Craig Stiles developed Desideri Analytics, which is his proprietary algorithm. That's what puts him over the top. That is how he makes light of weighted decisions. And lastly, I want to thank Steve and Ivy Gruber, owners of the Michigan Talk Network, for carrying us on the syndication on that part of our radio side of things. All right, Brock's here. Trends you need to know in real estate. Brock, you know, I wrapped the previous segment with our little story. Let's recap that story because it fits into the education thing. When we first met, and you knew that, I don't even know how you knew, but you knew that we were going to make a change. And you want to it's been a long time since we talked about that. Would you want to share that story? Because it's very typical of many instances that you deal with all the time.
Well, you know, you grabbed me as I was leaving Mad Dog Show there, and you know, he had, hey, this is Tom, and I was, oh yeah, I've heard you on the show and all that, and you were like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about, you know, my wife and I are thinking about maybe making a move, and I was like, you know, maybe think about doing it sooner rather than later, because the market's really starting to change. And now, from a value standpoint, you know, what I didn't know, which you can't ever really know, I didn't know that values, you know, were going to continue to go up and that you wouldn't have gotten hurt from a value standpoint. But on the flip side of that, you know, you guys, now you wrote a great offer when you bought your house, but you know, there were a lot more properties available when you purchased your house than there are now. And you didn't have to lose, you know, on 7 or 8 houses to get that. That takes a real toll on people when they write accepted offers and don't win, right? It makes you feel hopeless. And so you were able to sell at a time that got you a great price, but also still had availability to adequate housing where you were able to buy something that met all of your needs and your financial needs. And that was,
well, that was the
nicely.
Yeah, it worked out really nicely. And actually what Brock did was, just like we're talking about the trends you need to know in real estate, because that was 4 or 5 years ago. And what he said in the first segment, if you're thinking 4 or 5 years, if it's been 10, 15 years since you've done any real estate transactions, you need to get with somebody like a Brock, Mike Dedman, the whole team over there, the selling team of Keller Williams, because they will educate you. And that's what we're talking about, because these trends, this is just crazy. Okay, let's go back to the trends. I mean, where are we at right now with first the inventory and then money? Let's do inventory first, and then we'll talk money, and that's might carry us through for a good chunk of the show, but that's what we want to do with helping people. Go ahead, Brock.
Well, and obviously we're not going to we're not going to give a thorough diagnosis. So if you're listening, and you'll have my contact information later, certainly call me, right? And I can go into more depth, but you know, in terms of just, if you're listening in the state of Michigan, it's safe to say that these numbers are going to be valuable to you. And so first and foremost, your area probably has less than 11 or 12 day supply of inventory. That's first and foremost. So there's very little inventory. If you're listening in Michigan, likely if you're purchasing a home and you write an offer, there's probably 5 or 10 other people that have written an offer on that home at the minimum. And so that's those are first 2 things. You know, you're entering in to a fierce competition, and in terms of what you need to do to win, first and foremost, I feel like it goes without saying, you've got to write a great offer. Meaning, for the most part, if you're writing an offer on a property that's been on the market for less than 1 week, you will have to offer at least the full asking price. And more than likely, that won't win. And so you're probably also going to have to use an escalation clause where you're saying, I'm writing my offer for this price. And in the event that there's competing offers, I will beat the next highest offer by, let's say, $3,000. And I will cap that at X amount of dollars. So let's say it's a $300,000 house. That's what they're asking. You write for 300 and you put an appraisal, or you put an escalation clause in it that says I'll beat the next highest offer by $3,000 up to 330,000. It's not crazy to see a house sell for 10, 15, 20, 30,000 more than the listing price. I mean, it doesn't always happen that way, but sometimes it does. And a escalation clause is a nice way to win on that. The other thing you're going to have to use is an appraisal guarantee. Now, you may not have to guarantee the full appraisal, but you may have to guarantee 5 or 10,000 in order to win. And what I mean by that, Tom, is if you're financing your transaction, the bank is going to order an appraisal. Now, if that appraisal comes in low, meaning beneath the purchase price, by saying, hey, in the event of a low appraisal, I'll make up $5,000 or $10,000. That's that third component that could help you to win.
All right, hold that thought, because I wrote that down here. We have never, that I don't remember or recall that term at all. Let me reset this thing. We're going to go to break. Excellent, excellent tips here. We're going to have more of these coming at you. Trends you need to know in real estate. Brock Fletcher's with us. Our reality of real estate is very popular. This is Brock's 16th visit with us. That's how he trusts us. We trust him. We've done business with him. And I've said the story many, many times. We're going to go to break. Brock Fletcher, trends you need to know in real estate. Tom Matt Show. Beautiful.
All right, good.
Sandy was stepping out. So she's, we are on, let me tell you, man, we come over here to Wisconsin. It's like, as soon as we cross that state line, we are on the clock. And it's just, I mean, we weren't even here 5 minutes and Ashley was calling. I'm in an emergency. I need you to pick up. It's like, okay, you know, we're 100% on. That's the cool thing about having the little house and putting all of our energy into this. And I've told her, I said, you know what, would you rather have us here giving you 150% energy and then stepping back and forth? And she says, yeah, you know, you were right, Dad. All right, here we go. The simplest way to connect with us is via our website, tommattshow.com, where you can find our guests. My sponsors are there. Brock's there, Craig's there, bottom of that homepage, but that's where you want to go to find everything. All of the older shows are there. There's a bunch. There's a lot. We keep at least 2 years worth of podcasts on there, so you can go back and search those 16 shows that Brock's been on. Our YouTube presence has grown tremendously. If you haven't checked out at the RFZ, if you just put that in YouTube or Google, you'll find it's really interesting because it's two different channels. The show channel at Tom Matt Show is the show, and then the at the RFZ is everything else you can think of. I mean, I may even have Brock in there doing some 30-minute clips for me, you know, because that's the whole thing about sharing information. That's what we want to do. Facebook, Tom Matt Show, Instagram, Twitter, all of those things. Our mission is to build an engaged society and team. We want to connect with all of you, whichever social media that you utilize. We will respond. I just responded to someone on YouTube just before I started recording with Brock this morning. And gentleman asked me, I assume it was a gentleman, it sounded like a gentleman. He was asking me about the ring video, because I put rings, you know, I do a lot of exercise stuff on my RFZ channel, and I do a lot of ring stuff because the rings, I love working out on the rings and they work out great. He asked me a question about that, how long I've been doing, where do you buy them, that kind of stuff. I'm there to help. You know, that's what we do here. And that's why we have people like Brock and all of our guests. The 3 C's, sharing stories and ideas. It's all about community collaboration and cooperation. That's how we roll. And so please go check that out again. Please subscribe to the YouTube channels, Tom Matt Show and or at the RFZ. You can find all of that on our website. All right, Brock. I want to say that, you mentioned a couple of strategies when you're out there, trends you need to know in real estate, what we're calling this. And you mentioned the escalation clause. And I wanted to say that is exactly what we did when we bought Little House Lansing. And that was under the guidance of Brock, because I don't know real estate. I do what I do. Okay. We got the pad. We went in, and Brock said, and it was hot then. It's even more hot now. So
Yeah.
thank you for saying that about that escalation clause got us that house.
Yep.
So you started saying the appraisal guarantee, which I had never heard you talk about before. Can you start to continue to elaborate on that? Because these strategies that you have, people need to know what's going on here, and what exactly is the appraisal guarantee, so people are aware what they need to just have in mind.
Yeah. And this is really predicated on you having, the buyer having enough money to do some kind of an appraisal guarantee, which means you have to have, some savings. But so when you write an offer on a home, and let's say an escalation clause is used, and let's say that original asking price was 300 and it goes to 315, you want it at 315. And let's say you put in an appraisal guarantee of, let's say, $15,000. And what that says is it gives the seller the confidence of knowing that, let's say the appraisal only comes in at 300,000. You're making up $15,000. And so that purchase price would still remain at 315 because of the appraisal guarantee. Now, you might be thinking, if you're listening, well, if the appraisal comes in at 300, I don't want to pay more than the house is worth. I understand that logic. And yet what we're talking about is something completely different. We're talking about, you need a home to live in. And this is what you have to do to win. And it's relatively low risk. And here's why. The real estate market is designed to go up by somewhere between 3 and 5% per year, right? That's what it's designed to do. Some years the real estate values go up more than that. Sometimes they go up less than that. Like if you go back to the beginning of, the day before COVID to now, real estate values are up like 27.5% or more. So the reality is, even if today, let's say you spent $10,000 more than the appraisal came in at, it might take you 1 year to recoup that money. It might, but here's the reality. Real estate is designed to go up. And so over time, there's very little risk. All real estate risk is diluted over time. So the longer time goes on, there's less risk. In the short term, real estate is volatile. So if you said, Brock, I'm going to sell in a year, I'd say, don't buy real estate. Don't buy this house then. If you're selling in a year, that's risky. If you say, I'm buying this house, I'm going to live here 10 years, you know what? Who cares if you spend five or 10,000 more than you think you ought to? By the time you get 10 years away, the value will have exceeded that so many times over. It's a zero risk proposition. Everybody has to have a place to live, though.
Well, the thing what made me think, excuse me, Brock, but the thing that made me think was, we invested, and I'm using myself and Sandy as an example because Brock helped us, and we trusted Brock enough to, take care of all of our real estate, from selling Big Household to buying Little House Lansing. And we decided, because I asked you about this. Remember, I called you about I wanted to invest some money and do some things on the house. I actually got the contractor for the kitchen from you, and it turned out great. And it's like, well, is it worth it to? And it's like, you said, well, how long are you going to stay? That's exactly what you said. It's the same thing. It's the same principle. It's a return on investment that you have to look at. And I think what happens, and correct me if I'm wrong here, bud, but it's like, people get a little short-sighted, and the wallet, you start really sweating things, and the anxiety and all of that. But you gotta lean on the pros, man. You gotta trust your pros. That's a key thing about your one of your key terms for you and everybody on our show is the trust. I mean, you got to trust you guys. So, hey, just wanted to throw that out.
And let's be honest, that trust needs to be earned, right? I mean, sometimes you trust people and they take advantage of you, and it's not a good situation. And I have had that happen to me. I'm a very trusting person. But the reality is, if you're dealing with good caliber people, high integrity, your decisions are going to be solidified because they're going to treat you right. And make sure that you're taken care of, right? And by the way, if you're listening to this program and you're like, well, how would I know that I have a good real estate agent? How should I know that I should trust them? Sit down for a consultation, right? It is not difficult to tell people's integrity once you get to know them, right? Because I can promise you, when you sit down with me, it only takes you a half hour to realize that your best interests are in my heart, right? People that are bad people cannot fake it for very long, right? People that have high integrity, that are sincere, it only takes a few minutes of deep conversation and a consultation to figure out what you're dealing with. If they're a goofball schmoozy kind of guy, that's not for me, right?
Let me jump in here, everybody. Brock Fletcher's with us. We're talking about trends you need to know in real estate. This is a reality of real estate episode. Love doing these real estate. This is so important. It's so important. Our previous episode with Brock, because we have these are reoccurring episodes, was best practices. What he just said about the consult, I have a list of 5 things we went through. Go to that previous episode. It's on the website. It's called Best Practices. Find that episode, listen to that episode, and see what you think. You can listen to a little bit of it. You can listen to the whole thing if you want. But that's why we do these things, because you need to have these steps. You got to have the education. And I swear it will seal the deal for you here. Brock, set up the next segment, because we're going to go to break here in about 30, 40 seconds. Where do you want to go with the next segment?
Man, can we talk about our internships?
Oh yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Because our interns just started with us. I'd love to share what kind of great people we've got and just kind of what our mindset is on it.
This is a good lead in, and thank you for doing that, Brock. I didn't see, we don't script diddly crap around here, you guys. So I throw Brock a question, and it's like, we haven't talked about this, but these are important, Brock, and we'll tell the whole story. Stick around and come back, because this is a really important, if you have young people in your life, you want to help them get ahead, get their education, and help facilitate their growth. Trends you need to know in real estate. Brock Fletcher, Reality of Real Estate. It's a Tom Matt Show. You handled that well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, we got eight guys from the Spartan team interning with us this summer.
Sweetness.
Yeah, it's been fun.
That's great. You're going to get high performers out of those people. I mean, those kids are.
Yeah, it's been good. Half of them. Yeah.
All right, let me do this. I got to set this.
Okay.
I got this read I got to do for this Brock. Not really. I don't even have it's interesting, because I get the email from your buyer's agent monthly, and respond to it. But it's like, I appreciate that, but me talking about you or Craig is so freaking easy.
Oh, from radio and television experts? Yeah, gotcha. I didn't.
Yeah, they're solid. They're super solid. All right, here we go. There we go. The fourth segment of the Tom Matt Show is sponsored by our guest today, Brock Fletcher. We're talking about trends you need to know in real estate. Brock Fletcher of the selling team is our guy. I mean, 16th visit for the radio program. Just talked about a previous episode with best practices. We're here to help. Brock's here to help. He's helped us, and we want him to help you. I can tell the story about our former neighbor, Mike, who was clueless. This is when we bought Little House Lansing. This was just recently, a couple of years ago, where he needed some help with some advice. Next thing I knew, I just said, well, you got to call Brock. I don't know, but he knew that I did this radio thing with this reality real estate. I said, you need to call Brock, of KW selling team. And And it worked out great. Next thing I knew, Brock's sign was in his yard. 2 weeks later, gone. House is sold. Got more than he actually wanted. It's just the way it goes with this thing. You can call Brock, a couple different numbers, 517-853-6408. That's the office number. You can go to kwsellingteam.com, kwsellingteam.com. Let me say it again, kwsellingteam.com. Pretty easy. You can Google search Brock Fletcher, just like it sounds, really easy, super easy. You can go to our website, tommattshow.com. He's at the bottom there with Craig. Click on that banner, boom, you're there. It'll take you there. But here's the number. Here's the super secret number. And I encourage people to do during every time I do this announcement. I don't call it a read, really. It's just more me sharing my friends who I love so much. But this is the number. And I was just talking to Brock before we did the show about how he updates his voicemail. This is his cell phone, his radio in his pocket. 517-303-3262. 303-3262. Text him, call him. You'll hear his voicemail. He'll tell you when he's returning calls. And let me tell you something. This guy, he could teach the class on phone etiquette. There's so many people that don't clear their voicemails, that don't check their voicemails, that don't return voicemails. And it's so unprofessional. You will not get that kind of service with Brock. I guarantee it. Tell him you heard it from Tommy. If you say Tommy, that's a trigger for my sponsors to know that it came from radio, and that helps Brock when he's making his decisions on his marketing, because Brock invests. He doesn't spend, he invests thousands on his marketing so he can serve his customers with the best efforts that he can. Again, kwsellingteam.com, Brock Fletcher, 517-303-3262. Text him. He will get back to you. I promise you. Trends you need to know in real estate. All right, brother. We're going to do some trending here. We're going to talk about your interns because you are a big advocate for non-traditional education. You help with the university students at Michigan State, which I'm very grateful to you for doing that. And with my deep roots at Michigan State, I'm very, very, very grateful to you for helping those young people. Talk about that. I know you're very proud of that program. That takes a lot of work. People, you just don't bring them in and just like sit them down and they go to work. It takes a lot of effort. How many you got? What's the plan for this summer?
Yeah. Oh man, it's been so much fun. And it is nerve-wracking, right? Because creating a quality experience for young people when you've never done it before, it's like, you don't want to be, you're not just say, come in and make the coffee. I mean, that's not an experience that anybody wants. You need to get them in front of clients and let them see what we do. But this is the second year of our relationship with Michigan State University and the football team in particular. Darian Harris is our guy that helped us get that set up. He's the director of player personnel there for the Spartans, but we've got 8 student athletes that are interning with us this summer.
That's a big number.
It is, man. And we had 4 last year. And so this was a big commitment to basically double it, but it's been fun. About half the kids have started so far and the other half are still doing some football stuff, but they'll be joining us in about 2 weeks. But most times about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the kids get here. They're going out on appointments with us. They're going out on consultations. I'm teaching them how to write offers, how to read offers, how to interact with clients, how to, be professional. And they're already pretty professional. These kids are good kids. They're very professional already, but really teaching them about real estate. And for really the majority of it, I want when they buy their first home for them to be, really prepared for that experience. But in terms of how it's manifested, some of the kids are actually in the process of getting their real estate licenses, as something to do once their football playing days are done.
It will happen.
Right. I mean, the average life expectancy from if they are privileged enough to make it to the NFL, it's 3 years, right? And then you're out and you're doing something different. So it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. I would like to expand the internship program across the entire athletic department. I'm working on a plan to implement that. That would go beyond my capabilities, by the way. I'd have to get other agents here at KW to participate in that, but that's kind of my dream in terms of building a deeper, more meaningful relationship with the young people in our community. So it's been awesome.
Oh, great. And before you even said professionalism, I wrote down teaching professionalism because as parents, and we're both parents, I think that I don't think, I believe that we assume a lot with these young people because they seem very mature, but they're young. And don't assume anything with our young people, because if you think that showing up with a tie or a collared shirt or ripped jeans or something like that is going to be acceptable behavior, you're incorrect. I mean, that's just not the way the professional world works. And the face-to-face stuff you're doing, Brock, that's so the interpersonal skills, that is such a valuable lesson you're teaching to these young people. And I wish you the best, man. What about other people in the community that might want to jump into this, because this program is going to grow for you. You're going to grow this into something that's going to be super cool. What about other people? And I know you brought other, even non-traditional, like maybe older people who might want to come in and get part of this thing because you have the program already established. Would it be applicable for other non MSU
Absolutely.
related? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're always looking for talented people to join our team, constantly. And I think I mentioned it before. I know I've mentioned it before how impressed I am with our young people. But we have two 20-year-olds that have been training with our team since November, and they're starting to really figure this career out. And of course, nobody's ever an overnight success. That's not even a real thing in real estate. But they're putting together the beginnings of what are going to be very remarkable careers. I mean, to see a 20-year-old learning how to navigate this business, starting to put deals together, starting to make some money. I mean, I'm not a braggy person, but I am a person of like, if you do these things, this is the success. I can take somebody and they can be a millionaire within 10 years, right? If you work hard, real estate is that kind of a career where, because it's commission based, if you learn the skills, if you do what you're supposed to do, if you become awesome, right? You can achieve a measure of wealth that would take you more than 30 years in quote unquote a real job, if you will, right? And so we're always looking for young people that are talented to join our organization. And the other thing you mentioned, Tom, we've got teammates that have retired from other careers and have joined us. Now that's typically a little different. These people are not typically looking for like, hey, I'm trying to become a millionaire in 10 years. Typically what it is I want to work. I don't want to work 80 hours a week, but I like real estate. Most of these people have owned several homes, right? Maybe they've been a business owner or something in the past. Part of it is being productive. Part of it is I have something to share with young people, and then having them help mentor our younger people with their life experience.
Well, I would like to say, and I'm going to reset this and carry this through, Brock, because we're going to come up on break here, that if you're a refired individual, male or female, then you want to check out something like with Brock, because that is going to keep you healthy. It keeps your brain sharp, learning new skill sets. I talk about this. I've read, I study, I work on this constantly, everybody. And this is a type of career pivot when you refire. And now if people decide they want to retire, fine, great, fine. That's awesome. Good for you. Have fun. I'm the type of person who I'm doing this media thing full time now because I am refired from the university. And now I get to talk to people like Brock, and we get to bring you radio. Same thing for you. If you want to get into real estate and it's a part-time thing and you want to get some excellent training with some great people, that's the way to do it, because you don't want to waste your time getting your education with people that really don't know what they're doing, and they're going to teach you the wrong way of doing things. Trends you need to know in real estate. Brock's here. I'm Tom. We'll be right back. Excellent. All right, bud. Last segment goes by fast.
It sure does.
Always. Here we go. Gonna throw you the plug thing. So
Okay.
gonna do all whatever numbers you want to promote, whatever. You got any listings or anything that are coming now? This will air in about 3-4 weeks. So any events that you got coming, maybe summer, fall. If you got
Sure.
any you want to mention, please feel free. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
If you're a nonprofit, school, church, or youth group and need to spice up an event and you'd like to bring in some talent, please go to our website, tommattshow.com. Contact box is right there. Send us a note. We're taking applications for facilitating a live gig where I could be the facilitator, which I did at Michigan State for years and years and years with the Spartan experience. I bring in a group of talented people like a Brock, Craig, some, maybe even some of our remote guests, Angela Joseph, people that are in our community that really want to help you. We will do this. Let us know what your situation is. Now, again, I always like to qualify this with, these are pro bono. These are free. If you want to pay us, fine. That's great. But that's not the point of what this public service announcement here, because we want to help build our community. Just had Tim Damon on a couple of weeks ago. He was just on, and we're talking about Lansing's mid-Michigan's booming. I mean, it's going. And so these are the type of people that will really help your event. Okay, Brock, how do you want people to connect with you? Got any events going on or anything like that? Please go right ahead.
Sure. So, obviously the best way to get a hold of me is going to be on my cell phone. And that's, I know you've said it already, it's 517-303-3262. We've got some exciting things coming up this summer that we would love to have your listeners participate with us. One of the big ones, we're a big supporter of Ellie's Place, which is a great charity here in mid-Michigan. They do have branches across the state, by the way, but Ellie's race is coming up in July. And that's over at the Jackson National Campus in Okemos there. And if you go to the Ellie's, or if you go to Ellie's Place website, you can look, but we'll be out there. We'll probably have some of our interns. And if you want to come out and get autographs and get pictures taken with some of the guys, that would be great. That's one of the things that we've got coming up on July 22nd. In August, we're going to have our annual putt event where we rent out the putting course over at Hawk Hollow Golf Course. That's going to be in August, and more to follow in terms of dates. So if you're interested in becoming one of our family members, our motto is Beyond Real Estate, Real Family. So if you're interested in becoming one of our family members with the selling team and you want to be invited and included in all of our great client appreciation events, just reach out, text me, call me, give me your information. I'll make sure you're on our list. I don't have the specifics on the next event, but this is the one I'm most excited about. With our 8 interns, we are going to do a client appreciation event centered around, tossing the football around, getting autographs, getting pictures taken with our teammates. We don't know where we're going to have the venue yet. I hope we can do it at the university. I don't know if that's going to happen, but otherwise we'll rent a field or rent a park. And we're going to have a fun day of allowing our clients to get to interact with our interns. Gives them a chance to cash in a little bit on their name, image, and likeness, because we want to support them too in their ability to earn. And so we're going to compensate the guys that day based on their name, image, and likeness, and give them a chance to interact with our clients. And we're going to support a few charities with that event as well. Aaron Alexander, one of our interns, actually has a nonprofit to help people that are disabled. And that's mainly in the Metro Detroit area where that charity exists. But so we're going to support some charities. We've got some awesome events coming up this summer. It's going to be absolutely a phenomenal summer. So we would love for your listeners to get in touch with us and become family members of the selling team.
We have attended a couple of these different events, and I absolutely hope that we're in Michigan for the putt thing, because that's a really fun deal. But your events are well done. They are actually that foosball thing we did, or whatever that soccer thing that that was so interesting. It was a lot of fun. Got to see a bunch of people, and it was very entertaining. It was really fun. Again, the number 517-303-3262 to Brock, or go to our website, tommattshow.com, at the bottom of that homepage, and click right on through, and you'll go right to Brock's site. All right. 5th segment time. We're going to do messages. Now, this is the first time I've had a repeat messages guest, messages to my younger self. Brock was the very first. He was so nice to accommodate this new idea that I had that has since grown into its own little kind of thing on our YouTube channel. And so we cut out the video, we put it on the RFZ channel, and you get to see just that. And so, Brock, you did a great job on your first one. Let's revisit messages to my younger self. What would you like to, the next message you'd like to leave for yourself? Go ahead and give me one, and let's talk about it. Go right ahead, please.
Oh man. Well, and so this is a peculiar time for me right now. My dad's been diagnosed with dementia. And so that's been difficult, just understanding that his memory, won't be there. And at some point he won't remember me, right? I'm
Very sorry to hear.
Yeah. So for now it's good. We're having a lot of quality time together, but so like message to my younger self, cherish your relationships with your family members, because you don't know when that dynamic will change and when you won't be able to have the same relationship.
I'm going to pause on that one because that is so on spot, so point on, that if we don't cherish our relationship, if you don't continue to build strong relationships, it's the 4 or 5 people that you have in your foxhole. That's a David Goggins guy. I borrowed that from David Goggins, which I'm going to start using more and more. It's your circle. Who are the people in your circle? And what Brock just said is very, very applicable to that whole concept. It's like the 4 or 5 people in your life that you would have in your foxhole that would have your back no matter what. And I appreciate you sharing that, Brock, because that's a tough deal, man. And it's very, very good advice. And you're in our circle. You're one of our trusted souls. And we may have more than 4 or 5 in our circle, but that's because we're very, very blessed. And I appreciate you saying that. So thank you for saying that.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, let's get back to recapping trends you need to know in real estate. We talked about a lot of different things here. The trusted relationships. Again, going back to the previous episode where we had best practices, you were talking about the consultation. I had a note here, and we haven't talked about this yet, but money and costs of homes. What's happening on that? We got a couple minutes to go here before we got to break and wrap this thing. But what's the trend been on that? And the trends for the financial side of things? You never know what. I can't trust the media. I mean, it's like you get all these different stories. What's your professional opinion on costs and variables with money?
Yeah, so we're in this environment where interest rates are, if you're getting a 30-year fixed interest rate, you're between 6.5% and 7%, basically. And that's become pretty steady. I think we're going to be there for a while. I don't think we're going to see rates go up substantially higher than that, but I think we're here, and I don't think it's going to come down. I think that's an unrealistic expectation. We are seeing some, especially in the state of Michigan, from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. They've released some money, some you can get up to $10,000 towards down payment assistance in the right situations. So those are mainly for first time buyers, Tom, but there's some help for young people that are buying their first homes with down payment assistance. There's some good programs.
Was that through
the Michigan State Housing Development Authority?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try and remember I'm going to make a note here, everybody. I'll put that in the recap of Brock's episode, and I'll have Brock send me that link because that's very, very important. Thank you for sharing that. That's excellent.
Yeah. And if you've got good credit and you have good income and you don't have too much debt, money is not difficult to achieve in terms of, getting a loan for a home. So, what you do have to be is you have to be good with money. You have to have good credit. You have to be gainfully employed. Typically for a couple of years is what a bank will want to see, unless you're making a move from a stable job to, like a promotion or something like that. But But if you're a young person and you're gearing up to buy your very first home, you really need a couple years of job experience, right? And if you're if you're buying a second or third home, like you're maybe you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s, and you've been doing this for a while, the way it's probably going to feel for you, you're probably going to feel like you're having to provide a lot of information to get qualified for your loan, but it's because the process has changed since you bought last, right? But it's really not any more complicated. They're just more discerning to make sure that they're loaning money to good people. That's all.
And that's what we want. And that's the
Yeah.
whole point of why we even do these episodes. Again, if you're a young person, as Brock was just saying, I'm going to wrap this thing. So I want to give you a quick takeaway. Go to that previous episode on our website, tommattshow.com, best practices, reality real estate. They're all listed there. There's like 12 little cartoons on our website. You can check those out and find Brock. We called this one today, trends you need to know in real estate. Cover a lot of territory. Love having these conversations with Brock. We're going to wrap this bad boy. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our topics, through our guests. We'll do those speaking engagements. We'll do all of those things, sponsorships, ad packages. Let us know. However, we want you to be good stewards of your resources. Brock is the guy who can help you and educate you on being a good steward in your real estate transactions and life, because he's just a good guy, and away we go. And that's what we do here. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Say that every show, everybody. I want to thank Brock Fletcher for being with us. Thank you, Brock, for taking the time to be with me today.
My pleasure, as always. I appreciate you and Sandy.
Sandy Matt, Craig Stiles, Mitch Anderson, my hero. Have a great week, everybody. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate everyone. Reach out to me anytime. And remember, go to our website, check out the YouTube channels. Everything's going great. Thank you. We're out. Boom.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. That's
So
awesome.
great, man. It was another good one. This is so fun to do these things with you. I appreciate you very much. You know how much we appreciate your helping us, and anything you need from me, you let me know. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it, bud.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And we'll talk about football. I didn't want to do that while we're recording.
Sure.
But we'll talk off recording. I've heard things, and it's like, and I'm sure you've heard things. And so it's like, okay, I got to gather my information. I got to rally the troops around some things, and we got to kind of cut through the.
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest thing is the kids are fine.
Yeah.
The kids are not worried.
And you would have a much better temperature check on all that for sure.
Yeah.
That's not here.
No, it's just that's the nature of the media, right? And the sky is falling and that kind of stuff. But I mean, the kids are good. I mean, I know we're off now, but like two of our interns, Trey Mosley and Christian Fitzpatrick, they're both wide receivers. The reason they're not working right now is they've been in Virginia working out with Noah Kim for the last 2-3 weeks. Right.
Great.
I mean, so like, he was probably going to win that quarterback job, bottom line.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens now. And it gives gives the players an opportunity to, check out their opportunities. It's a tough gig. And so, and this is all, I'm still recording on the Zoom. So this is part of the video.
Oh.
So we'll leave it. No, that's good. That's fine. It's all good. It's a changing landscape out there, and people understand. So, all right, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one.
Peace out. See ya.
See ya.
I got to tell you guys, Brock Fletcher is my hero. The guy helped us so much with our house. This is a true story. When Sandy heard me say the story about selling Big House Holt, I was not a really popular guy in our house. And thank goodness we had Brock. And straight story, man. He guided us. We trusted him. Sandy started to trust him, and he hit all his metrics. Everything that he said happened. That was our experience. Take it for what you want to do. Reach out to him if you got questions. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.